Hey everybody, this is Talkative Carl back again for another episode of Deadliest Warrior live commentary. This video will be doing a kind of a controversial one, kind of not, depends on your way of thinking. As I don't think is that controversial because considering it's our historical figures. They will mention this in this episode. It's not about ideology. It's just about the words themselves and settling who will win between the two. We got the Nazi Waffen SS versus the Viet Cong. Uh, I always thought this was a very interesting thing. If the show would have continued, I would like to have seen more episodes where you got two different enemies of a country, you know, uh, that never met each other in a fight, and put them against each other and see which one of the particular country's enemies would come out the victor. I would have loved to see more of that kind of thing. But yeah, I mean, uh, uh, leave a comment below. Let me know what is your thoughts on the of this episode. If you've seen this before, avoid spoilers if you're watching this live with me. But uh, definitely give your thoughts when you first saw it. Uh, what was your first instinct? Because if they would have made this now, and this episode would have aired live, uh, I'm pretty sure there'll be a lot of cancel culture kind of BS going on. Uh, uh, over this episode, they had to do all this crap like pull the episode because it's like people want to boycott the show, kind of blah blah blah. I'm glad, or at least hope, they won't bring it up, or at least you know make it a mountain out of an anthill kind of situation. It's just an episode. It's an entertaining one and an interesting one. So just it's not that different from watching a movie with a very you know evil set of people. I don't even think like the Viet Cong are considered like evil. Like back in the day, we were depicted as like the bad guys of America, but they're just people. In America, by and large, were the ones who were the aggressor on their home country. Because and it was around that time uh, when America tried to, you know, subjugate, the Vietnamese people who were fighting off a lot of other people prior to America and still managed to win out on top uh, uh, with defensive tactics and knowing their terrain. It's just, and then of course, from historical records, they, beating a lot of people with a lot of booby traps. Booby traps was they're revered to this day. So, yeah, I mean, you know, America is usually the bad guy in like at least a few instances in history, but one most notably is they're approaching on uh, the Vietnamese country, and I believe more so it was like after World War II, uh, making the atom bomb and all the other stuff. It's like they got too big for their britches, and Viet Cong, Vietnam humbled America quite a bit, especially after the American people at that time refused to support this atrocity of a war. So anyway, that's enough of that. Uh, get your timestamp to 0. You know the drill. Uh, please press pre pre. Please press play. 3 P's. It's a tongue twister. Please press play now.
evil charge for world domination. The Viet Cong, the ragtag guerrilla force that took the US military head on and won the Vietnam War. Who is deadliest? To find out how world-class fighters are testing history's most lethal weapons. Using 21st century science, we'll see what happens when the two warriors go toe-to-toe. No rules, no safety, no mercy. It's a duel to the death to decide who is the deadliest warrior. Welcome to the Fight Club. In this bloody battle lab, our team of scientists and medical experts are about to embark on their most chilling assignment yet. The question, who will win in a death match between two of the most hated enemies America has ever fought? The notoriously evil Nazi Waffen-SS, Hitler's deadly assault forces that launched World War II, and who killed more American GIs in 1944 than in any other single year of combat.
Yeah, definitely. Nazis are the most hated ones. Like nobody, despite what's going on in America right now with with racist idiots. Before all that, it wasn't too long ago. It was like people don't agree on a lot of stuff, but it wasn't too long ago when the one thing we all at least agreed on was that nobody likes Nazis. I mean, that's the one thing we used to be able to agree on.
To weigh in on the gruesome injuries caused by these instruments of war.
We've got the Nazis who were the aggressors, and then we've got the Viet Cong who were able to kind of ingrain themselves into their own land and defend themselves from the United States.
Computer whiz Max Geiger will track the test findings and input the data into a battle simulation program.
Because we're dealing with modern warriors who have automatic firearms and high explosives, there's too much of a chance for a lucky kill here. So we're going to be bumping the simulation up to handle 5-man squads.
Inside the simulator, the two combat forces will engage in a true-to-life fight to the death. The winner will be the deadliest warrior. Wielding weapons for the Waffen-SS, Silvio Busch, an expert in German World War II combat organization.
There was no enemy the Waffen-SS feared, no matter who it was.
I feel bad for Germans nowadays. It's like, you know, Adolf Hitler and the Nazi Party. I mean, they left a huge stain. Still,
No fine soldier ever fought the worst cops.
it's still like still like left like a huge stain today. And it's like it's just like mind blowing.
Special combat force, the Waffen-SS.
They were indoctrinated, they were gung-ho, they wanted to fight,
It's just like
popularize.
kudos to them because like after the war they just like eradicated anything that has to do with Adolf Hitler, but it's just that he ruined like that Hitler mustache for at least Michael Jordan. I think the only Michael Jordan is the only person ever tried to like bring that look back, but it just does not work. The name Adolf and Hitler are just like never used. It's the one name that's never used out of like a few other names because it's synonymous with evil. And just like I feel bad, because the German language, it's just like it just sounds. You would just sound like a bad guy just with the German language. It's like you give, you just want to just give like a German a look, like my a long time ago my first girlfriend was her father was half black half German and her mother was Filipino, so she was like Filipino, German, and black. And it's like I always joked with her, it's like when she gets very demanding, it's like so it's like it's the German side of you. It's like well, not even that. Like all those sides is like very demanding in their own way. So it's like because Germans are like known to be kind of like very demanding inherently.
Communists in the South wanted unity and launched a guerrilla war. Their enemies called them the Viet Cong.
The French had vastly underestimated the guerrillas, and the United States was about to make the same grave mistake.
Up against the U.S. military, the Viet Cong proved an unyielding opponent. And ultimately, the American public demanded an end to the war.
The Viet Cong were willing to fight for the cause until the last foreigner leaves the country.
So how will Vietnam's most feared guerrilla fighters fare against the Nazis' most ruthless killers?
I gotta give this one to the Waffen SS. They had a huge superiority complex. And
Superiority.
once a dog, it's very easy to pull the trigger and get the job done.
I'm giving my initial edge to the Viet Cong.
Yeah, and not the main superiority complex. It's like not all Germans obviously, but just like it's just that it's kind of like that thing.
No, in the case of the Viet Cong.
Especially when they actually speak, German, it sounds like very commanding presence,
17% of all U.S. casualties were caused by the VC's sinister booby traps.
The Viet Cong booby traps were so easy to make. Not only that, but it instilled psychological fear in their enemies, and it was devastating. It was a man killer.
Punchy stakes. The Viet Cong's toxic terror sticks.
This is what makes the Viet Cong famous. It's just bamboo sharpened at the tip, very sharp. Watch your finger. These tips were usually dipped in human
Poop has bacteria, and if that gets in the wrong place, it festers and it can grow. And when it grows, you become septic, and then you can die.
To test the killing power of this primitive weapon, toxic punchy sticks line the bottom of a wooden box, topped with a trapdoor.
Yeah, I mean, like they were famous for their booby traps, and it's like I read about this in school. It's like got caught up a lot in those. People got caught up a lot in those things. It's just like I think this around time, a little time after this, Rambo came out. After the events of like Vietnam War, like in the 80s, like early 80s, Rambo, or at least First Blood came out, and it's like it's like uh, further drilling into the people using that movie is like we didn't support our military that came back from that kind of war and didn't really, I mean, even today it's like after coming back from war with like psychological problems or something or other. It's just like it's not. They by and large, it's never been like I won't say never, but like by and large, it's not been taken care of. But like the serving your country is like, if anybody that should never be taxed on anything is the military personnel. They should not have to pay any tax whatsoever, especially after fighting for their country. That is my opinion.
We don't see a lot of puncture wounds, but there's this one right here, and this would hit right under the spleen. If this spike was over a little bit more midline, it would hit some significant organs and would kill. But even if the spike didn't get you, you falling on your butt, smacking your head on the ground would kill you.
You gotta be kidding me, right? I mean, this is being like at war with the Flintstones.
medieval, but then it works. Here's the evidence.
If a Waffen SS soldier was to use this, it would be court-martialed for cowardice in face of the enemy.
Coming up, the Nazi Waffen SS.
I mean, that's his opinion, but it's like traps are effective.
Nazi Waffen SS.
especially when it comes to help demoralize their opponents. When they demoralize, it makes what you're doing a whole lot more easy. You would think, right?
Inside our fight club, two notoriously evil fighting forces are preparing
And that's before a bullet is even fired.
Nazi Germany's elite Waffen SS versus Vietnam's communist Viet Cong.
That was a joke I threw at her like back in the day. It's like, oh, my little communist. It's like, you know, she, oh my god, like she couldn't stand me making those jokes.
There was no more dedicated, no better armed, no more determined than the Waffen SS.
No fighters will deploy extremely
But it was
deadly
hilarious. I mean, like she gave me so much ammo.
unleashed
No pun intended. It's like, come on. It's like you think I'm not going to touch that? Come on.
Bouncing Betty landmine, Mauser pistol, and the Flammenwerfer flamethrower.
What was our love?
Viet Cong strike back. With a Mat 49 submachine gun, Ponzi 2 mine, Tokarev TT-33 pistol, and punchy stakes. Viet Cong team experts already proved the killing potential of the punji stake traps. The Nazi Waffen SS experts are ready to burn the VC back to the Stone Age. The Flammenwerfer, Flamethrower,
Flammenwerfer.
a searing stream of liquid hell. Our deadliest warrior team
Our second flamethrower of the series.
this powerful weapon on the firing range.
I don't even think we use flamethrowers anymore in warfare.
Flamethrower Model 41, and it was pretty much the last developed model of flamethrower Germany employed in the war. So how much does something like this weigh on your back? About 48 pounds, and I can move around with it pretty good.
In World War II, a favorite fuel for the Flammenwerfer was a diabolical mix of gasoline and tar. The flaming material would stick to whatever it hit. Our team will test the flamethrower's ability to destroy the cover of a simulated Viet Cong village. The thermal camera will determine the hellish temperatures this weapon can unleash.
Thermal camera is rolling. When you're ready, fire! Whoa! Holy! That's 800 degrees Fahrenheit. Okay, we just went up to 1200 degrees Fahrenheit. Yeah, baby!
Just fully engulfed in less than in an instant.
Yeah. Oh, there it goes. There it goes. There goes home destruction. This is where our mannequin used to stand. Your primary target. You definitely took care of it. Have a look at this path that you just made. If there are any booby traps in this area, they're now neutralized, and you can move a whole platoon through here if you want to.
Oh, yeah.
It's scary. That's a picture of war.
Yeah, it really is. Realistically, what is proven to me is that fire does burn wood and it does burn dry grass. The Viet Cong, they wouldn't have been here, and I don't think your operator would have gotten that close to a hut like this.
Here we go, man. Boom, baby. Oh, man.
I mean, it's terrifying just to see like there's like a big fireball coming at you.
This is just sheer terror, sheer pain, going down slow and hard.
As history has already proven to us, flamethrowers didn't help the Americans.
Flamethrower in Vietnam wasn't on the back of a Waffen SS grenadier.
I think you're gonna have to plug that into an oil well to flush the Viet Cong out of the jungle.
Each team's special weapons are terrifying. But which one do our experts believe is deadlier?
I'm giving the edge to the punji stick weapons. With the flamethrower, you're using resources. That's a man to use that weapon. With the punji stick weapons, completely passive.
The flamethrower's devastation is point and shoot. It's gonna burn you to death, and it's reusable. You don't have to fall into it. I've got to give the edge to the flamethrower. Edge, flamethrower. Edge, flamethrower. Don't say anything. Edge, flamethrower.
For special weapons, the Waffen SS take a flame-broiled edge with a Flammenwerfer. Nazi experts believe the SS has an undeniable advantage.
convinced that you're it. You're it. There's nothing that can stop you.
What?
And they believed that Germany was destined to rule the world.
As the vanguard of this new world, the Nazi Waffen-SS had strict physical requirements.
You couldn't even have a filling in one of your teeth. I mean, it was supposed to be the Übermenschen, the super race.
One had to be of pure Aryan ancestry, which had to be proved back to 1750.
While the regular German army did military drills, Waffen-SS recruits learned to box, teaching them the importance of striking the first blow.
There was close to a 30 to 40% burnout rate, just because of the sheer physical stamina needed and expected from Waffen-SS troops.
It's
Recruiting differed radically from the
I wonder like what was it like behind the scenes when they, or even like a movie like Jojo Rabbit. It's like when you doing like reenactments or plays or movies, you actually gotta somehow get Nazi emblems to display if you're depicting like Nazi soldiers in their element.
Viet Cong soldier only train with 3 rounds per day, for they learn how to make every round count. You don't have to be good to join the Viet Cong. You join the Viet Cong, they make you good.
But can the Viet Cong outfight the Nazi SS? Coming up, both teams unload a
Yeah, I think that is the stark difference between these two. It's like, you know, it's just like with the Spartans, and it's like, you know, and like the Shako Zulu, the Zulu tribesmen, and like the Waffen SS, it's like they want perfect soldiers, no imperfections whatsoever. But you know, whereas like the Viet Cong, they would make you good, or even like the samurai, it's like, you know, some of the best samurai were blind or children half the time, and it's just two different, vastly different ideologies, and both work in their own respect. It's been like proven on both sides, you know, that thought process worked. But I think maybe in my personal opinion, I think the the part where it's like, you know, a good teacher will make you good regardless of how you are born in this world, or you know what your lineage is. You can be at just like with practice, you can be good at something.
Submachine gun. It's one of the best finely crafted submachine guns ever.
I can see how the MP-28 would be a very effective weapon in the streets of Europe. But what I want to know is, how does it stand up in the jungle?
To replicate the deep cover of the jungle, the Waffen-SS experts will have to shoot through a camouflage net.
This feels very Call of Duty-ish, you know.
Will act as Viet Cong
It's always been mentioned. It's like they can make a Call of Duty style Deadliest Warrior game for the modern warriors. That's something I want to be a part of. Like for like the modern warriors, they make a Call of Duty version game where you get to play, you know, all these warriors with their gun, with their different type of guns.
Man, his face wouldn't stop bleeding. I didn't know your head held that much blood. And this guy's got some ballet stance going on, or maybe that's VC yoga. This is the entrance wound here in his neck. This is the exit wound. Oh, yeah.
It's nasty.
Nasty is right. Took one in the collarbone.
And this is like,
dropping a lung.
you know, they're
This one here.
older model weapons, but you know, they can still be effective. Like I, in my opinion, I think like guns going as far back as the Wild West up until this point are still very effective. Uh, of course, maintenance, like heavy maintenance, is involved because of their, you know, older components that makes up the gun. But still very effective. Uh, it's just like anything prior to uh, uh, the six shooter or you know uh, the Winchester rifle. Like you're going to territory like blunderbuss or muskets, which are definitely not effective anymore.
To see how the Viet Cong's favorite submachine gun performs outside of the jungle, our experts have set up a D-Day Normandy invasion scenario. 3 robotic targets will storm the beach.
So we've got obstacles.
There's something about
And in the
those
ground,
busters, those big metal X's things.
you get 30
I don't know what it is, but it was like that. Looks so weirdly cool looking. It's just meant for keeping certain vehicles from progressing further, but it's just like I don't know. It's just like it's cool looking on a especially on a battlefield.
Okay, first kill shot. Take a look at this. Right into the neck, the exit wound, right out the center of the back of the neck. That tells me this was a spinal cord hit. Any communication from the brain to the body is now cut off. Instant kill shot.
Let's look at his friend.
Oh my god. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. This guy is not in a happy place right now.
Dude, you shot his pants off.
And as you can see, this one was the furthest away from me, and because of the molded forward pistol grip that helped me control it at distance, I was able to keep rounds right on it.
Well, compared to the MP28, this is a toy gun.
Both warriors' murder machines prove their potential on the battlefield. But which one do our experts believe has the edge?
MP28 versus MAP 49. They almost fire the exact same round. Muzzle velocity is pretty much the same. Barrel length, rate of fire. Okay, you get a little bit more with the MAP 49, but I'm going to call this dead even.
I'm inclined to agree. Dead even.
For long-range weapons, the submachine guns are equally lethal.
I thought it was a cool idea. Like when you test out these weapons in a very different scenario from what the world would have been used to, and see how effective it would be. That is a cool idea, because like putting like the mat gun in a D-Day scenario, it's like of course we want to see like how it would be like if it was used on Normandy. That would be great.
Nazi Germany's ruthless Waffen-SS against communist guerrilla fighters, the Viet Cong.
Viet Cong were tougher than the Nazis because the Viet Cong were so ingenious. That's why they're gonna.
Every time I see that pineapple, I'm just getting hungry. I'm trying to avoid eating for today, so there's nothing but water. I got cut up pineapple in the refrigerator right now. I'll probably wait till like midnight before like I take a bite.
Next weapon will blow the VC to bits.
Matter of fact, now I'm thinking about I want some cereal. Having a bowl of cereal right now as I'm watching this would have been like nice, but I'll probably get some cereal like tomorrow. I'm trying to avoid buying crap. I already had to, get a few things from the grocery store Sunday. Cause I'm trying to make sure I have like, money saved up for when I go on my Vegas trip this fall.
These ball bearings were feared by the Allied soldiers beyond the obvious reason. They also maimed and castrated.
The nickname of this is the Bouncing Betty, and she's a very, very naughty girl.
4 VC stand-ins will take on the destructive power of the device.
want to test the range and dispersal pattern of this weapon. We've got a number of targets set up, and so we're going to see if that weapon can do what you planned.
Shock patches will measure the bomb's deadly blast.
Everyone behind the shields. Max, you ready with the trigger?
Ready.
Okay, on three, buddy. 3, 2, 1, go!
Wow.
Yeah, baby!
And that radius was insane.
That's beautiful. First thing here, guys, don't even need to look at the frag. The primary shockwave killed this guy. This is the 100G patch. It's tripped. This guy's dead.
Wow, look at that. 1, 2, 3. I mean, it's just chewing up the person in half. Femoral artery here. We know what's there.
I think all you little commie brothers are bye-bye.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
This is.
Didn't we tell you it's a ball buster?
Well, these dummies aren't exactly anatomically correct, but his junk has been pushed in.
The bouncing Betty did serious damage up to 15 yards. But that's where her killing power stops.
So we've got shrapnel as far as 20 yards out, but it's not penetrating. It's just bouncing off.
I think it's clear here that the bouncing Betty is a lethal weapon. You guys got to remember, it's a heavy mine, and it was easily detectable. That's why our mine is better.
The VC's answer to the bouncing Betty is a devious, explosive combo.
Yeah, deadly up to 15 yards. Yeah. And like those explosives are still like obviously effective too, even to this day.
This little bad boy right here called Pomsy 2M. This one can turn into 1,000 of little fragments. And one thing is, you see the hollow bottom here, so you can insert a wooden stake and put this bad boy on and get a tripwire. That's it, you're done. You have less than a minute.
By itself, the Ponzi 2 landmine can send fragmentation flying at flesh-ripping speeds.
Okay, you ready, Doc?
Ready?
3, 2, 1, fire! Check this out, guys. He shot his pants right off. But green patch 100G is tripped. This is lethal.
The Ponzi blast is only half of the VC's explosive killer.
We like to call it double trouble. You snip the wire, pull it out, guess what? Surprise.
The Viet Cong would plant F1 grenades under their Ponzi 2 mines. When an enemy discovered the tripwire and disarmed the mine, his relief was brief. Viet Cong landmines accounted for over 2,200 U.S. Marine casualties in 1966 alone. To test the F1's killing power, our experts had attached a grenade to a disarmed Ponzi 2. The target will be a pig carcass because it comes closest to replicating.
It's cool to see like how they sell that explosive, because it's like, man, like double trouble. It's like that is so unique of an explosive.
Yeah, baby. Check this out. Wow. 150 yards. That is shocking awe, baby.
Oh my god. This pig is completely in half. The upper portion of the pig has been spread. And we're probably inhaling pig right now.
Yeah, I imagine you'd be inhaling pig right now. It's that thing's like obliterated. That was one hell of a grenade. Wow.
The bouncing Betty has a horrific design, which is engineered to cause as much damage as possible. However, when you look at the combination of the Pomsy 2 with the F1 grenade, these are being used to devastating effect in one package.
In explosive weapons, the edge goes to the Viet Cong for the Pomsy 2 F1 grenade combination. Coming up, both teams unload with their favorite sidearms. Nazi Waffen SS or the Viet Cong? Who will be the deadliest
Speaking of money, I think I gotta get me some brand new shoes for work because I've been wearing these boots and I like using them. I had them for a very, very, very long time, but I like using them because it's like, you know, me walking around is like I don't want to like my feet hurting by the end of the day. But at this point, it's like they're getting so worn. By next weekend, I'll probably go out to the store and buy myself, like to Ross, and get myself a brand new pair of shoes just for work purposes.
How many rounds in the clip are we talking?
8 rounds, and at close
And
range,
that's another thing, like the Vietnamese women of that time were like femme fatales. It's like you know, uh, a lot of guys got tripped up uh, when you know you got like these Vietnamese women just to like straight up like just assassinate you when you're not when you're catch you with your pants down, literally.
7.63 by 25 millimeter. Excellent accuracy to it because of the longer barrel. It's a simple yet robust design and is often nicknamed the broom handle because of the grip at the bottom.
To assess both firearms, a head-to-head test to evaluate the gun's firing rate, accuracy, and knockdown power.
Here's our test setup. 5 targets, and you'll be on the clock. That's the start line. VC, you're up first. Are you ready?
Yes.
3, 2, 1, go!
Typisch Russen Button.
Yeah.
Our PC expert unloaded 8 bullets, eliminating the 5 targets in 24 seconds.
So you're averaging about 3 seconds a shot, but a killing power like this, I'm not too worried.
Against the same targets, will the Nazis' Mauser broom handle clean up?
Max, you ready with the timer?
Yes, sir.
High speed's up and armed. Ramon, are you ready?
I am ready.
3, 2, 1, fire!
Our Nazi expert fired 10 rounds to take out the targets, but in only half the time of the Viet Cong.
Oh, man.
We just determined that your shooting was faster, but a little sloppier. 10 rounds in a faster rate.
Turned his brains to jelly.
Okay, so
considering it took you 10 rounds, I think you might want to throw in that much stock.
Don't
Lacking a little
forget.
bit in accuracy there.
this can go full auto.
Hey, I want to see that right now.
With a click of a firing selector mechanism, the Mauser turns into a fully automatic, quick-burst butcher.
Light 'em up on your go!
I've seen that in Resident Evil 4 as a or 5 as a that you get like that butt handle
You literally went
and turn like a pistol into like a minigun.
3, 4 headshots.
And it was all over in less than a second.
That was 20 rounds.
20 rounds. Fires 1,000 rounds a minute. Full auto.
Pistols can definitely dish out the damage. But our experts disagree on which one has the killing edge.
I gotta go for the Mauser. More rounds in the magazine, and it can go full auto.
I think the Tokarev is a more reliable weapon, and because it forces the user to slow down, take his time, pick his shots, you're going to get more deadly kills.
The Mauser has the ability to go 20 rounds, can go fully automatic. I gotta go with the Mauser.
Yeah. I mean,
Weapons, the Nazis get
yeah, the Mauser gun is like. I mean, I was really impressed when they became like a full auto type of gun just by like with a quick switch, and it's like.
I definitely think this is gonna be a
I mean, it's like definitely a make it like a better gun by comparison to the Viet Cong's gun because like their gun can't do that. It's not designed to do that.
battle begins. The Nazi Waffen SS and the Viet Cong. Our exhaustive testing. It's time to find out who is that deadliest warrior. Our experts tested 4 weapons for each fighting force. For special weapons, the Waffen-SS Flamethrower 41 Flamethrower competed against the Viet Cong's punchy stick weapons.
Flammenwerfer is a firestorm in the hands of the man who's using it, and it's able to do a lot more damage than those punchy stakes ever could.
Edge, Nazi Waffen-SS. For explosive weapons, we compared the Waffen-SS Shrapnel Miner Bouncing Betty against the Viet Cong's Ponzi 2 Mine with an F1 grenade surprise.
The Palmsy 2 with the F1 booby trap were awesome. The overriding factor was the booby trap. When you add that F1 grenade there, that basically sealed the deal for them.
Edge, Viet Cong. For long-range weapons, Waffen-SS MP-28 submachine gun went up against the Viet Cong's MAT 49.
I have to stick with the test results. And what did we see? Both men had obstacles. Both men had 3 targets. Both men got the job done. Edge, this is a draw.
In long-range weapons, the Warriors are even. Finally, for short-range weapons, the Nazi Mauser C-96 opposed the Viet Cong Tokarev TT-33.
I'm going all Mauser on this one. Has an option of going fully auto, plus he got the job done faster.
Edge, Nazi Waffen-SS.
Okay.
Data is locked and loaded.
Locked and loaded.
Computer simulation program developed by Slim.
What was your favorite weapon so far in this video? Leave a comment below, let me know. I'm very curious. If you're curious to know what he was saying, in Deadliest War Aftermath, when the Vietnamese experts said that, but the guy is saying basically, who are you, who you work for, gives your name now. It's rough translation, but it's basically that. Like, tell us what we want to know or we'll kill you kind of thing. It's one of those intimidation tactics where it's like, you put them in a situation where it's like immediate, what's the word? Anxiety, or scare tactics. And you see how the landscape just changed where, as soon as they're crossing this bridge? Because at first the landscape looks like something straight out from like Viet Cong era of the the Vietnam War was like what, 60s, 70s. It was 70s. And now they cross into like what looks like Nazi Germany during the 40s.
614 victories, the Viet Cong's 386. For both warriors, submachine guns were the deciding weapon. I don't like it, but in this matchup we had two bad guys, and I think the worst guys won.
I think the VC gave a really good fight. But in this matchup, it just wasn't enough. I'm shocked because I don't think the Waffen SS has what it takes to beat the Viet Cong.
The Viet Cong did surprise me in some ways about the ingenuity of their somewhat limited weaponry. The Waffen SS, in the end, were still superior.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, yeah, given to the German people, it's like when it comes to their the German ingenuity and engineering, they're pretty damn good. But yeah, I mean, it's like it's just with like there's some machine guns were the deciding factor in this fight. It's just that yeah, I mean, given the fact that like I don't say like the technology, of course, by comparison, the Viet Cong did have the more modern weapons compared to the SS, but it's not much of a difference. They got like a 20 to 30 year gap in between time periods with each other. So not enough of a stark difference compared to, like I said, if they compare like their guns to what Jesse James had. That's a stark difference because that's a longer time period for guns to evolve. But the but like German people, it's like they just in this kind of scenario they was like just kept on going through. Unlike where the American people, the military forces at the time lost their backing or support when things were getting too much and losing so many lives, especially over a pointless war. And by comparison, I don't think like Germany would have that issue if it was them dealing with the Viet Cong. I don't think like their people would be would really well. It's like I'm pretty sure they'll care, but it's just like as far as like you know when it comes to their fatherland, they uh they would hesitate on like speaking up against what the military forces would be doing. But that's just my thoughts on that subject. But just a side note, in case you do not know or did not get this in middle school history, the American military used to call the Viet Cong Victor Charlie, VC. It's just like a code name they used, when on the radio or whatever like that, or sending messages. They coded it instead of calling like the Viet Cong. They're in the Allied force or just the American military. They call them Victor Charlie as a pseudonym in a way. Just a little brief history lesson. But anyway, next video we'll be doing will be Roman Centurion versus the Rajput Warriors. So stay tuned for that. I didn't buy it for the Xbox, so I'll have to go to my Amazon Prime myself and watch it from there. So I will see you guys in a little bit. Don't forget to leave a like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff to Talkative Carl on YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter. Follow me on my Patreon. That's patreon.com/TalkativeCarl. And once again, leave a comment below. Let me know what you guys think of this episode. Do you have a favorite weapon that was displayed on the episode? Or do you have a least favorite? I'm curious to know. And I will see you guys soon. Take care.